Good morning, Bucknutters. It's Tuesday, July 25th, 2017. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. If it's Tuesday, that could mean one thing. Duane Long is here. Thankfully, Duane, we had plenty to talk about. Yesterday was Big Ten Media Day, and Urban Meyer addressed the media. Dave Biddle and Steve Hellwagon were there in Chicago to get it all completely reported on. Urban said some interesting stuff. We're going to talk about that today and then maybe touch on some of the guys Duane is hearing about or stood out at Friday Night Lights. First, Duane, welcome to the show. Let's start right where your wheelhouse is. Urban Meyer took the podium yesterday and said there are 7 options at right guard, one of the only open spots left on the team. He went off to name every single dude who's ever played guard at Ohio State. Actually, it was Matthew Burrell, Malcolm Pridgeon, Brandon Bowen, Demetrius Knox, Josh Myers, Wyatt Davis, and he eventually named freshman Thayer Mumford as well. What's your vibe on the fact that the job is still open? What's your vibe on the fact that there are 7 guys mentioned? Obviously, there's not really 7 guys in contention for the job. What do you make of Urban Meyer's comments on right guard?
Well, I think that we talk about Meyer's psychology degree, and I think that's a lot of what he does. He wants to motivate everybody, let everybody know, you can come out there and win this job. But I think they already know who the 2 deep would be if Saturday was game day. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I would, you've got so little experience there. So I would go with the better athletes, and that would be at the top of the list would be Malcolm Pridgeon. I think that if Prince is settled in at right tackle, that's where they're going to leave him. Then I think that it's another thing of getting the best 5 on the football field, and that to me includes Malcolm Pridgeon. So I think that they know who their guys would be. They just want to keep some kids motivated and trying to win that job.
Do you think him mentioning the freshmen is kind of a message to the older guys that they need to get their butts in gear?
Oh, always. I think he definitely mention him in there because he wants to keep everybody focused on the task at hand, which is to win that starting job. And, let those older guys know. There's no seniority is a factor, but if you think we're going to play you because you're a senior, or you're, an older guy, then you're mistaken. You need to understand that younger guys are going to push you, and we're going to let them.
Yeah, if you look at that group and you were to rank them based just on physical talent, it would not be in chronological order. So that's also probably a reason he threw that in there. I think you can make a very strong argument that Josh Myers and Wyatt Davis are the 2 most talented guys in there. I'm not sure if Thayer Mumford isn't third. So that's definitely something to watch. It also sounds like we could get a rotation in there, and I wouldn't be too sure if the person that starts there this season is the person that finishes there. So something to watch for sure.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. That
wouldn't
surprise me at all. That guy who's in there in game 1 is not going to be starting the Michigan game. That would not surprise me at all.
Yeah. The fact that he started mentioning the young guys so early really makes me believe that even more. So definitely something to watch, and clearly the most unsettled position on the team. Thankfully, it's surrounded by Billy Price and hopefully an improving Isaiah Prince. To be clear here, we're not complaining about the Buckeyes. Obviously, yesterday at the media day, they were picked as the clear favorite in the conference. There's no doubt about that, but that's not news. What we're discussing here is kind of the stuff that came up that Meyer said that may concern us a little bit. Obviously, the greater concern is winning the national championship, but you got to nitpick when you get to this point. Tight end, Marcus Baugh in a walking boot has some numbness in his toes. I'm not even sure what that means. Or inflammation in his toes. He said he's going to be fine. But you think about the fact that A.J. Alexander's now gone. He was on the field a lot last year. There's going to be, it seems like, an increased reliance on Jake Houseman and Luke Farrell this year. How do you feel about the tight end spot?
I'm not worried. This is the deepest group of tight ends we've had since John Cooper was here. Maybe further back than that. These guys can play. These are outstanding tight ends. They would be in the mix anywhere to play. I thought I was actually surprised that Farrell looks like he would be the next guy up rather than Houseman. I thought Houseman was the more athletic guy, but coming out of spring, it looks like Farrell was the guy. So I'm not worried about tight end. There's some guys out there that play football. Baugh, he needs to get on the ball is what he needs to do. It's been one thing after another with this kid, whether it's off the field incidents or he's had a case of the dropsies, and I keep hearing about him being injured. Okay, well, then find somebody else. If he's injured, don't play him. Put somebody else in there. Well, now we got some kids that you can throw in there and not worry about it. Bigger kids than him, just as athletic. So, I'm not really that worried about tight end. And, you get a bigger, more physical guy. Well, let's be honest. We haven't used the tight end nearly as much. He's going to block here. If you're going to be a tight end in Ohio State, you're going to block. So, getting a bigger, more physical kid in there is not going to be, I don't see the downside to that. That's not going to make me angry.
Well, let's hope Jeremy Ruckert didn't hear this show today, but we'll go from there. Let's kind of move outside a little bit from tight end. Urban Meyer, I'm not surprised he said this given the state of the position, but this is the one that makes me nervous. And that is wide receiver. He claims they are not ready. So if you put a little combination here, you got issues at tight end, you got issues at right guard, you got issues at wide receiver. How concerned should we be now about the passing game? Or is this a case of, like we said earlier, Meyer being the master psychologist and seeing this is his spot, he needs to have improved, and it's kind of putting the pressure on these three units? What's your vibe?
You know what? I think it's a sum of both. I think there's some psychology. He's got some athletes out there. He's got some guys that can be early entry first round guys, talent wise. I think he wants them to mature. We still got to remember about the youth factor. There's still a bunch of young guys running around out there, Dan. And then you got Johnny Dixon, who looked really good this spring. He still doesn't have a lot of game experience. So I think he's again pushing these guys to be, take the job. Somebody step up and make me say you're my number one guy. And we've heard all spring about Ben Victor having all this talent, but he's got lapses, and that's just not going to happen. He's not going to have it. Urban Meyer is not going to have these guys not being focused. The ball's not coming to you, so you're just going to walk around out there? No, that's not going to happen. You're going to block. You're going to be focused. You're going to be one of an 11-man unit, and you're going to play every down just as hard as, the downs you're blocking on. You're going to play those just as hard as the ones where you're the go-to guy. I think he's sending a message to them, but we also have to look at how little experience these guys had last year in such a dysfunctional offense, just such a dysfunctional offense. So, he's sending a message, but I think he's got some guys that can make things happen out there. I'm not worried about the talent level. It's just, getting them mentally focused on playing every down.
And Urban addressed, by the way, the tangentially, I guess, the stuff in the mud offense when he talked about hiring Kevin Wilson, the fact that he's never hired an established OC before. I thought that was a sign that Meyer has seen, I think, what he needs to see out of Kevin Wilson, and things are looking great there. We're going to switch from Chicago, go back a few days to Friday Night Lights here before we finish up. the coverage of Friday Night Lights. Obviously, we had a ton of dudes there, and there was more content there than we've ever produced for Friday Night Lights. It was a wonderful evening. We're going to talk about two dudes here real quick. One who could be the first class of 2019 commitment if you follow Bill Curlick's reporting. That's Doug Nestor, the offensive lineman out of West Virginia. Duane, we always like you to comment on offensive linemen when they hit the radar. What's your vibe on Nestor?
This is a kid, you know, I say all the time on the message board, I would rarely recruit guards. Well, this is a guy I would recruit as a guard. He's listed in the 247 database as a tackle. He's not going to play tackle. He doesn't want to play tackle. He says he wants to play guard. Big physical kid. I mean, he really gets after it. He's got a nasty streak, moves really well, and he's got good technique for a kid. He's going to be a junior in high school. Really outstanding get if we can reel him in, and it looks like we're going to. He does good enough job in protecting the quarterback for a guard, and that's what he's going to be. He's not that long kid that you want out at tackle. I'm very impressed with him. He's in that Josh Meyer mold, that the guy just that trucks people and enjoys every moment of it.
I think the term is, I don't know what the actual term is, it may be country strong or something like that. That is a strong dude. Watch the tape. Dudes go the other way, and I realize he's a youngster. But if you're that big as a sophomore in high school, good gracious. I think they know where they're starting the class of 2019. That's a good sign. Then we'll finish with this. If there is one name that kind of jumped out from every source we've talked to from Friday Night Lights, that's possibly because they had not seen him before, it is Jason Oweh from Blair Academy in New Jersey, my arch rival high school from 40 years ago. But still, Jason Oweh, what you've heard about him and where the Buckeyes might stand.
I don't know anybody that covers Ohio State football that has not heard about how Oweh looked in Friday Night Lights. Said the staff was just focused on this kid and watching what he can do. And Alex Gleitman says that he's actually played less than a year of football in his life. Last year was his first year, and I don't think it was a full year. And you look at his highlights film and you think, this kid, you're telling me this kid is just his first, you just don't believe it. He just leaps out at you what kind of talent he is. For those that are not on the boards regularly, he's a defensive lineman, defensive end. Outstanding athleticism, and I guess he put on a show on Friday Night Lights. And, you know, everybody, if you ask him, anybody that was present that knows what you're talking about, to name 5 guys that really stood out to him, every one of them would say Oweh.
Definitely an impressive guy, and even better news, it's down to Penn State and Ohio State. Let's hope they can make the push and finish the class of 2018 with some real studs, Oweh being one of them. We appreciate Duane stopping by. Keep it locked into Bucknuts for the best media day coverage you can get anywhere. Have a great one, Bucknutters.